Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I was doing in Nashville, Tennessee, and in our last episode we decided that we're going to go ahead and rip out this stairwell, and, well, maybe not rip it out, but we're going to have it switch back through inside the mesa here, and then come down basically around here. So that's going to be a lot of digging, but I think it's going to be well worth it. You know, sometimes it's hardest to just get started on something, so let's go ahead and let he who is without visible flaw throw the first pick. No, let he who is without hubris cast the first pick. If I was going to cast a picture, like a motion picture, I would probably try to get Daniel Day-Lewis. Because he would be just so interesting to see perform in whatever motion picture I was casting, you know? He doesn't always have to play Lincoln. I think the guy would make a great Garfield. No, not James Garfield. I mean the cat. I mean the guy's naturally talented, you know. And I mean he does such an intense process to prepare for his pictures. You know, he would actually probably hang out in a little I don't know. Is that a wooden box with a single blanket and eat lasagna and complain about Mondays for months? It would be amazing. He would never talk. He would only think his lines because he's just that committed. How could casting Daniel Day-Lewis as a cat go poorly? It can't, you know. If you are trying to solve a problem in Hollywood, clearly you should be consulting with me, because I'm the best. So anyway, now that I'm enjoying being the best so much, we're gonna have to figure out. I figure we'll have this platform round out here, and I don't have any white clay on me right now, but it'll be big enough and rounded out enough that it should, we might even round it out along this curve. Yeah, so then we get kind of a viewing thing to look down at the maze once it's ready. So then we'll go ahead and start actually doing our dissension part right here, I guess. That seems about plausible to me. And I probably need to figure out what Y level I'm going down to. Let's see, what are some good movies about going places underground? There's Journey to the Center of the Earth. Wait, do I hit F3 by itself? Okay, yeah, that's how you get it without the pie chart. So we need to get to 60. And while I'm down here, I should probably grab some extra torches. I don't know how many of these torches are actually could be considered as extra. Got these bone blocks too, in case I wanted to do something with those. I don't really have a plan. I just thought they were cool. Welcome back. It's been about a day and a half since I recorded that last introductory bit. And I actually have 2 audience members today. They probably won't make any noise because they're not microphoned, so it wouldn't show up too well if they did. But on the off chance that you hear snickering in the background or people laughing at me for being a fool, that would be the explanation why. This here is my museum, as any of you guys know who watched the introduction to this video, and so some of you guys who might not have been keeping up with the series from the beginning might not know that I usually have outside Minecrafters who are not playing on the Hermitcraft server contribute in art. Now, we've had pieces here in the past that I've ripped out and delivered, but we need to make room for this new 15 by 15 maze that Mike Sugarbaker's working on. And that is why I have ripped out the stairway that was here before, over the weekend, off camera, and replaced it with this new smaller switchback stairway. Now this switchback stairway is not perfect. For example, I have yet to gouge out the wall here brutally and destructively, removing any blocks that might prevent the natural flow of chi that people generally associate with a well-structured, well-formulated hallway. I'm not an architect. I'm more like somebody with one of those wood scalpels. What do you call those things that you gouge into wood with? When you're making wood work. Not an adze. That's for straightening the wood. I don't know. There's some sort of tool that you gouge wood with. That's me when it comes to buildings. I'm just give me some raw materials and I will hack into them until we have something barely passable. Now, when I say barely passable, I mean this is barely passable. I'm going to bang my head on this. We got to rip this ceiling out too. That is unacceptably low clearance. You know, it's nice and red, so people see that and they go, oh, I better not bump my head on it. And then they do anyway, because people are dumb. When it comes to building design, any sort of visual design really, you just want to go through and you want to think about how will people screw this up, you know, and then work around that in the planning stages. It's better for me to build this the right way and not have people smacking their heads than to have people smacking their heads. So that already feels a lot more open, you know? We kind of left some of these corner pieces in play here, which kind of demonstrates the rough-hewn nature of this. In fact, I kind of feel like maybe I should roughly hew some more of this. Boom, 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 boom. That feels like, you know, that's an open space. This is inviting the visitor down here to enter the maze. Now, once this maze is constructed, you'll be able to see it from this first switchback stairwell here. And so that'll give people a chance to kind of get an overview of it. The other players on the server can look down upon it and whisper no or whatever it is they do when they look at stuff. And then they come down here and they're like, oh, hey, I feel like this stairwell's telling me to continue this way. You know, I'm not sure I love this because it kind of just... This is such a sharp relief, this stairwell here. I don't want to knock out the lower blocks too much, but I think that kind of edging into this piece here, kind of, yeah, that makes it feel like this whole area is more continuous and more welcoming. Now, if we go too low here, then people start coming down the stairs and like bumping into that, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But, you know, on the whole, this is, once again, at least moderately passable. Better than barely passable, and I'll consider that an improvement. I have no idea where Sugarbaker's actually going to put the entrance to the maze, but what I'm guessing I want to do, so I've already marked out like a 17 by 20 grid, and I'm going to place the maze oriented the optimal way depending on its final configuration. I want to try and put the entrance close to here. Now, I'm not sure if the entrance is going to be in the middle or on one of the corners, but if it's in one of the corners, I'll orient the maze accordingly. If it's in the middle, what I'll probably do is widen this path here. I'm out of coal blocks right now, which is greatly unfortunate. If you're like, hey, you know, I'm in a Charles Dickens novel and I'm out of coal, then you're going to freeze to death. So good luck with that. Also, you're trapped in a novel. Good job not getting trapped in Animorphs. Those books are terrifying. You don't want to get like turned into a lizard and not be able to turn back. You know, that's no good for anybody. So we're going to go down here and we're going to look for some more coal real quick, because I know that people have not really adequately explored all of these. Hey, there's some coal. Grabbing coal. Oh, hey, there's a creeper. Do I have my bow and arrow with me? I do. Enjoy the Expo 1 for 360 burn-ins. Okay, great. So we're going to light this up. We're going to light this up. We're going to light this up. It's like coal is no object. Okay. Probably shouldn't be wasting a bunch of coal in order to find coal, but you got to spend money to make money, or whatever it is they say. A lot of people do that, and then they do not actually make money. I saw this thing from this guy who does lectures for MBA classes, because like I thought at one point like it might be interesting to get an MBA, but you know what? It turns out it's really expensive, and there's a whole bunch of lectures and stuff you can just watch online for free. And you know, it would be helpful for my resume to have an MBA if I was looking for jobs that you need an MBA. But if I just want to be better at like managing small business finance for like a small YouTube channel, then maybe I don't need a whole MBA. Maybe I just need to like learn a little bit. But anyway, so this British guy who was at like Oxford, you know, which is like the Vanderbilt of the England or whatever, he was talking about how like if you build it, they will come from Field of Dreams had set American industry back further than any other single thing in like all of American business history. I have nothing here to make fire with. Well, this. Dang it. I need like one more. You know what? This is a dangerous area. We have enough coal. We got a stack and a half of coal. Let's call it. Let's coal it. We're up the stairs. Before the creepers get us, up the stairs. Making our own stairs. You know what? When life gives you no stairs, you say, not today. Okay, so here's our ladder. We have made it safely back. If I can use the ladder, grabbing the side of the ladder and then shimmying up is not as effective as hand over hand, rung over rung. So there is your ladder safety tip of the day. Put all of this in here. Boom, all of this in here. And that produced an additional 10 coal blocks, which, you know, for our 17 by 17 grid is not going to be sufficient to actually encompass the entire grid. However, I can rip this out. I'm assuming that Sugarbaker will not use coal for the bottom of the maze, although if he does, then I will go get more coal. And I know he's watching this video right now, so Sugarbaker, I'm watching you. You put something cheap at the bottom of that maze. You put cobblestone or a type of wood that's readily available. Sandstone would be great. No, you know what? The thing about hiring an artist to make something is you don't want to set too many constraints. If he wants to put coal at the bottom of the maze, it's actually not that bad, because what I'll do is I'll rip out all the coal that I'm using for the outside of the maze here, and then just put it on the bottom of the maze, because I'm going to need a contrasting block for the outside of the maze anyway, so might as well reclaim this. I'm really lazy. I'm so lazy, I don't want to break the blocks under these torches to replace these torches. That's too lazy. That's not acceptable levels of laziness. If there's somebody who knows a lot about acceptable levels of laziness, it is me. Okay, so here we go. And that is not how our grid actually orients. Boom. Wait, I'm counting these all out wrong. Boom. Okay. It's going to be a real pain if I don't have this grid set up right. So I've got like the 10s marked and the odd ones marked. This is good enough. So also we're going to need to rip out, assuming that we have room for it, I'm going to need to rip out these extra chests and signs and stuff like that. Of course my inventory is already completely full. You know, it's like the guy walking down the street with like his arms full of like, oh, did you hear about that guy who found that bucket full of gold flakes at the armored car in New York City? It's like an 85-pound bucket of gold flakes sitting in the back of an armored car worth like $1.8 million. And he just kind of like drags it down the street. And there's like CCTV footage of him walking like a mile and it taken him an hour because he's just dragging this incredibly heavy bucket and nobody has any idea what's in it or anything. And of course the authorities are looking for him. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, guys, don't post CCTV footage of this dude. He's my hero and that's snitching. So he is not my hero, but that is arguably adjacent to snitching. So do consider that in the future if you have footage of somebody hauling a very heavy bucket of gold flakes down the street. Where was I? Something about pockets. Yeah, I emptied my inventory so that I could get rid of those chests, and then I did that before explaining why I was going to do that, which was to make room for the maze, which I think we've probably already gotten. People are on the same page there. I'm not going to rip out the whole floor until I know what the floor is actually made of, and so that's okay. I've gone through some effort to actually start like continuing the kind of like softening of the color in the walls here. So I'm just going to continue with that real quick. But core concept, you guys get what's going on. It's an art gallery. We're going to put some art in it. I need to put out some requests to some other people. But you don't want to constrain these people. You want to give them freedom. So I say, how much space do you need? And they tell me. Like when Lori came in with the Sea Cow Bay sign last time and it needed like 1 million of those sea lanterns, I kind of had a stroke because I was like, I don't know how to get sea lanterns on this server. Luckily, I was able to buy them from somebody with a shop. So, you know what? Whatever happens, just don't build the thing out of dragon eggs and elytras. We'll be fine. Anyway, I think this is a good place to stop. We've made some clear progress today. We used to have a stairwell that went down here. We now have a stairwell that goes down here. So, yeah, that's about, we'll call that breaking even. So, work in progress, but making progress. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.